What's up, everybody? What's going on? I see guys are in the chat already. Got Amos Cardoza. We got Bloody Shot H3ACR. What's going on, bud? I haven't seen you in a little while. Welcome to the channel. It's Sunday Funday Q&A. And of course, you know what that means. You know who this is. My name is Jonathan. I run my channel, KleinGuy Jon. And it is Sunday, 12:01 p.m. here in the northeast of the United States, in New York City, here in New York, Staten Island. I'm glad you guys are here. Some of you guys are here, and maybe some of you guys are like silent watchers or just watching. And obviously, you're not going to be silently watching because I would see you as a little, it just shows how many people are viewing it. But it's cool. It's all good. Blake HVAC says, bro, I've been AWOL. Yeah, I noticed, man. I noticed. I really did notice that. But it's all good, man. It's all good. Hey, listen, we're all busy. I mean, I was out, wow, since December all the way to just now. It's been since March now. I got back in March, so it's been a while, too. I was going through some stuff. We all have things that we have to take care of and what we go through, and we don't have time for, going on and doing what we have to do, what we normally do, and what we love doing. So it's all good, bro. Totally understandable. But topics for today, as you saw in the description. So we're going to be talking a little bit more about expectations about helpers and apprentices. All right, and I know I spoke about this yesterday. There was a whole huge hour-and-a-half long rant about it. So I'm sorry, but if some of you didn't quite understand a few things about it, I'm gonna be brief on it and just get straight to the point. Also, I'm gonna be taking some questions, but before that, actually, the second thing we're gonna be talking about is a little bit of grounding and bonding. Now, I did get a text message. I don't remember who it was actually. I think it was one of the apprentices that was working with me back at the Times Square job. But he's trying to understand grounding and bonding. So maybe I figured maybe if he's maybe watching live stream, maybe subscribe to my channel. I don't know. We're going to be talking about that a little bit today. So I got some graphics ready for you guys on that. Plus, if you want to learn more about electrical safety, electrical fundamentals, you're trying to work on becoming an electrician, you're starting up as a helper and apprentice, go check out the links in the description box down below. There's 3 links. Check them out. It's very informative. Get that knowledge in. Get it in now. Understand what grounding and bonding is. Understand electrical theory. I'll also give you some books to look into. There's one favorite author I'm currently reading up on and studying on, and yes, I'm studying on everything about code, trying to understand the National Electrical Code, because it's sometimes not everybody seems to understand it too well. But we're gonna get into that. But first, you know what I gotta do? Gotta roll the intro. All right, we are back. So, let me just fix a few things here. All right. Listen, if you are new to the channel, okay, again, I'm going to introduce myself before we get started. My name is Jonathan. I'm an electrician here in the electrical trade here in New York City. I work for a non-union shop. I was union. Not the type of union you think of. Local 3 is really heavy here in New York City. I was working with 363. There's a whole big long story about me leaving and so on, but I'm not going to get into that right now. If you want to get in, learn about that, I do believe it's in one of my previous, I think it was in season 1 or season 2 of Sunday Funday Q&A. So you might have to check through every video because I didn't really title them very well. So I'm gonna have to start putting titles of the episode. I don't believe this is episode 3. I don't know why. So if this says episode 3 again, guys. Oh no, it doesn't. Okay, good. It's supposed to be episode 4. So yeah, so also if you're trying to get my attention, really try, because sometimes I'll get, there's a few of you here, but sometimes I'll get a couple more people, like maybe 15 people, 10, whatever, and everybody's chatting with each other, so I'm not going to be able to catch up on the chat. So if you want my attention, you want to ask a question, you want to state something towards me, and just, so you could be heard in a sense, make sure you type at KleinGuy Jon, okay? And when you type it, you put the @ symbol, and you type down like this. It will highlight, on my end, it'll highlight my name in orange. That way I can see it. I can focus on that question, or maybe you're trying to get my attention. I can grab onto it and read what you have to say. But in the meantime, there's not that many people in the chat, so it's fine, but it's just a heads up. So I'm gonna be, and by the way, don't, if you like what you see, you like the channel, you want to see more, all right, listen, don't forget to subscribe. All right, hit the subscribe button, or the sub button, and you want to get notified. Make sure you tap the bell notification right next to the subscribe button and get notified. All right. So expectations of apprentices, helpers. I'm gonna make this just brief, okay? Especially those of you who are coming out of trade school, who are nearing the end of your trade school courses, okay? You need to understand something, and I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna probably say this several times, but just once this time, okay? Do not expect, when you come out of trade school, do not expect you know everything, okay? You're going to probably hear this from other YouTube creators too, who are in the trade, and they're going to tell you the same thing, and I'm telling you, do not expect you're a know-it-all. When you get with a company, get your foot into the door, and you start working, and you think you're a know-it-all, you think everything because you know more than a helper that didn't go to trade school. Listen to me, open your ears. When you step into the field, you don't know jack squat. Okay, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to say it really bluntly. You don't know diddly squat. It was the same for me. I didn't come into the trade because I had to pay attention and stay focused, because I was told ahead of time while I was in trade school, listen, learning this stuff in trade school it's a given. It's great, but when you get in reality, you're going to learn a lot more than what you actually know here in school. So word of advice, keep your mouth shut. Don't brag. Don't moan and whine because you're not getting paid enough, okay? You're starting from the bottom. You're starting from the bottom rung of the ladder, and you're working your way up. Don't think that you're worth $30, $28, $20 an hour or whatever. You're not there yet. We need to see you perform. The boss needs to see you perform. They need to see how you progress in the company. Are you worth keeping and worth paying more money to, or are you just another slag, a lazy bum who just there for a paycheck and doesn't want to do a lot of work at all? Okay, if you're pulling wire, stop whining and saying I want to do real electrical work. You're doing real electrical work. I'm sorry if I'm like a little shouting out. I'm trying to drill this into the apprentice's head and the helper's head as well. The helpers, you guys too, you are listening. Even if you're in a trade school, listen clearly, okay? You are doing electrical work, whether it's you're organizing material, whether you're passing material to the mechanic, whether you're pulling wire, okay? And if you're just doing the, or if they trust you enough that you're going to be just doing devices all day, let's say they just put you in right away with outlets, receptacle outlets, and they make you do that all day. You do that every day, every day, every day, and you get tired of it. Keep doing it, because if they put you on it, it's for a reason, because they feel you do your connections better, more secure, and you just know how to work with the tools. Okay, don't get upset and say, hey, I've been doing this for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and I'm still not being noticed. You're being noticed. Trust me, they're trusting you with devices and switches. Okay, next thing, if you're just putting same goes for lights. If you're just putting in lights and not running wire, not terminating devices, there's a reason why they put you on lights. They are seeing how you progress. They're seeing if they can trust you to install a light fixture yourself and wire it yourself. Everything you do in construction, you are gaining experience. Okay, you're gaining the experience, and you're showing your employer or your foreman or mechanic that you can be trusted doing the tasks. Okay, don't be like, well, I was hoping I would start just, mounting boxes and pulling wire and all that by myself. No, you're not there yet. You are just there to learn. You're there to learn. Yeah, you went to trade school. You learn how to pull a little bit of wire, land wires, terminate. Sure. But when in the real world, they're going to put you where they're going to put you. They're going to put you whether you're going to be organizing material, because they want you to learn material, because what material you learn in school is not enough. There's still more. It's more expansive. Okay, there's more to it than just a Romex connector and a BX connector, or a blank cover, a mud ring, or finish plate. There's a lot more material to work with. You got LBs, you got LRs, you got LLs, you got C conduits or body conduits. You got 90 elbow 90s, open elbow 90s. You got all sorts of material and all sorts of fittings. You just don't, you have not experienced in school. So get it together. Stop being lazy. Stop complaining. Stop whining. You went to school. You finished school. Now you're in the real world. Okay. You want to climb the ladder? You're gonna start from the bottom, work your way up. All right. So suck it up. Okay. Because you will. In other words, you're gonna be like the foreman's bitch. No, sorry if I'm using the word. You're technically his bitch for like the first year. Okay. So you best learn. Okay, no, don't start fighting with people. Don't start, oh, well, this guy's got a problem with me. Listen, they don't got a problem with you. They're teaching you something, and you got to open your ears and your eyes and listen and look around you. Okay, they're showing you the way because that's what they were taught. All right, so you want to complain and whine? Listen, if you want to comment, leave a comment on my channel and start, complaining. Oh, well, I'm not getting paid enough, and I've been here for like 3 months in this company. I'm not gonna respond back, or I will and say, hey, you're still starting. What's the problem? Okay? If you're young, in your 20s or you're 18, expect the unexpected. Okay? Expect the unexpected. Don't expect you're gonna get paid $20 an hour. You're gonna start at minimum wage and work your way up. Okay? If the boss asks you, can you stay for like an hour or two? My advice, say yes. Your first year as an apprentice is going to be rough, but you're going to know a lot more. Okay? You're going to know the expectations of you from your employer or from your foreman, and you're going to keep doing it until you get to the point where you are a mechanic or a junior mechanic. You're going to be a junior mechanic, and then once you reach journeyman, you're good. You're good, and you keep going. You keep going from there. All right. There's no stopping at what level you want to be at. If a foreman gives you a responsibility, he makes you lead mechanic because he believes you now know everything. You now know everything you should know. Take the position. It's a step up to becoming a foreman. Okay, or a project manager. If is the sky's the limit at this point when you are an apprentice. Okay. If you got problems outside, don't bring it into work. If you got problems in work, don't bring it home. Okay? No matter what it is. I don't care if you got 3 kids and you're 20. Don't bring your issues to work and say, well, I got 3 kids and I need to get paid more. Listen, you got into this trade, you got kids. That's your problem. Now you got to work your way up. It is what it is. And I'm tired of those complaints. I really am. I get a little frustrated when I hear these guys come out of school and they want to complain a bit. And I tell them, listen, I went to the same school you did. I knew I had an expectation. Okay, I had an expectation. You know what my expectation was? To expect the unexpected and keep my mouth shut and listen to what these guys have to say because they're more experienced than me. You need to learn from the experienced ones. All right? So don't assume because you got a trade school, you know everything. You don't know everything. There's a lot more to it than in school. All right? So don't be a bum. Don't be whiny. Don't complain. You got in this trade. It's a tough trade. It's a risky trade. So learn everything you can. All right? Those of you who are helpers, if you don't want to go to school, my advice, it's a good program going on right now. It's pricey, but as you make some money, put some money away for your education, my suggestion is get Mike Holt's basic electrical theory. You start off with this. Electrical theory is important. After you start with that, get into grounding and bonding. Learn grounding and bonding. It's so important in the electrical industry. I mean, there's millions. I mean, this book has everything you need to know about grounding and bonding. So I suggest you get it. And while you're getting that, get yourself the National Electrical Code. Get yourself a book, the code book. Okay, NAC. I mean, this is 2014. It doesn't matter, but if you're living in a state that's on 2020 right now and they require that they're following 2020 code, go get yourself the 2020 code. If you're in a state that's following 2017, get yourself 2017. If you're following 2011, get 2011. New York City, we still follow 2008. Don't ask me why. It's a lot of politics involved, a lot of money for changes and stuff like that. It's the reason why we're still sticking with it. But New York City has its own code as well. It's a 2011 New York City Electrical Code that is based on the 2008. I know it sounds confusing, but if you're like me living in New York, you'll understand why. So yeah, invest in your education, invest in yourself as well. Even if the company sees that you're good and you're a keeper and they're going to invest in you, don't always expect them to, pay for everything. I learned it the hard way. So invest in yourself. Get yourself certified for everything. Get your OSHA, get your SSTs, your site safety training. That's what it stands for. Get yourself, I mean, I'm certified as an aerial lift and scissor lift operator, so I've gotten that. These credentials will help you become more valuable in the company, and they will depend on you to do the job, and you make more money. Okay, so do what you got to do. Educate yourself because knowledge is power. And I go by the saying, the more you learn, the more you earn. All right. Another word of advice too, when it comes to electrical, and and your boss tells you, hey, you got no choice but to work on live because there's no power, there's no way to shut the power. I'd say don't do it if you're not comfortable. But if you've been taught how to safely work with, like working live around receptacles or switches, make sure you're wearing protection. Make sure you're wearing gloves. They do sell and make thinner rubber or leather gloves. Make sure you follow procedure. Always remove the hot. Safe it off with electrical tape or a wire nut. Go with neutral, then remove ground, and then vice versa when you're putting everything back together. There's a saying I go by that I've been going by my other instructors who told me this, and I live by it every day. You have to give, you have to respect electricity because electricity does not respect you. Okay? So respect it. I mean, like, be careful around live stuff, live equipment, live wires. You see wires sticking out. It doesn't even matter if it's dead or live. Safe it off. Put some wire nuts. Safe it off with electrical tape. Really good. I mean, like, wrap that like you're wrapping up a mummy. I don't care how much tape you use. As long as it's safe and it doesn't hurt anyone, put a box. install a box. You see wire saying install a box, mount the box, bring it to the box with a connector, safe it off, close it up with a cover plate. If it's dead, write dead 12.2 or 12.3 or 12.4. If it's live, say live wire. Be responsible too when you're on the job site, because the foreman will see that and say, hey, he knows his safety. He's being safe. He's looking out. They like that. They like to see safety conscious guys as well. That's a take on that. That's a real plus in the job site. All right. Let's go to the chats here real quick. Amos Cardoza say, hey, don't, my friend. Wait, what? Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped that. It says, bro, I've been AWOL rather. I am both certified electrician and HVAC tech, both best trades. Yo, that's me too, bro. Yo, high five on that. I don't know, I can't give you a high five literally, physically, but high five. Digital high five for you, bro. Definitely. Yo, John, where's my ham sandwich? Says Kona, man. No ham sandwich, bro. I don't have any ham. I don't have any bread. So I gotta go shopping. Lazy bum for a paycheck. That's right. It like I said, it bothers me to see like these new apprentices were starting out and they want to complain. Don't complain. Don't. Honestly, you may think you know it all. You're like, oh. And one other thing. Don't bring race onto it. Okay, unless you're really sure, unless you have some proof that your employer is being racist and doesn't want to pay you. You're starting as an apprentice. Apprentices start at the same rate. All right. Some may even lie. I've seen apprentices lie and say, yeah, I just started straight out of school and I'm getting paid $25 an hour. But then I see how they work and they work terrible. That there's no way. So you're basically lying not only to me but to yourself. And if the employer is paying you $25 an hour, the boss is paying, he made a mistake. You lie to him. You best turn around, call him up and say, hey, I lied, or we'll do it for you. So don't kid yourself. Don't lie to yourself. Don't go around bragging that you make more money when you really don't. And if you are, you're lying. Like I said, you're lying to yourself and you're setting yourself up for failure. All right. So that's it for that. All right. Next topic. We're gonna be talking a little bit about grounding and bonding. Now, I know I had this last week. Yeah, last week's Sunday Funday Q&A. I didn't really get into depth into it, but I'm gonna make this one brief as well. I have a couple of some graphs, the graphics, as they say. So if you guys don't mind, like looking at the graphic, let me see if I can just set it up here. Okay. All right, so here it goes. Well, Article 100 definitions for an effective ground fault current path to open overcurrent devices. And as you can see in this graphic right here, all right, so you have your service, you have your meter, your service. This is the meter that is coming from your utility. So the wires coming into the meter are right here, the black, the red, blue. Then you got your white, your neutral. That's coming from the utility. On the load side of the meter, you got your meter can, you got your main disconnect. Main disconnect passing, feeding now power to your transformer from the meter to the main disconnect to the transformer. So let's say this is a 208 120 side and this is a 480 277 volts, right? You have here now your ground rod or grounding electrode. All right. Now, there's exceptions when it comes to grounding, right? You can use a rebar as a grounding electrode, or you can just drive a ground rod straight to the ground here. You could even do it at the meter can or after into the disconnect to run your ground. It depends on which state you live in. States are different with electrical code. Some states refer that, hey, if you're gonna bond your ground, to the neutral, you gotta do it at the meter. Or if you're gonna bond the ground, you're gonna do it at the service. Okay. So check with your state and local codes. Now you have your equipment grounding conductor. you got a main bonding jumper. So this main bonding jumper right here is now tied into your neutral. You want to bond your ground, your main bonding jumper from the neutral to the casing, right? Then you have your ground electroconductor also bonded to your neutral, go to ground or to a, you know, a case, or either a ground ring if you got a ground ring around building, or if you got a grounding, a rebar that can be used or listed as a grounding electroconductor. That's fine. Then from that, your equipment grounding conductor, as you see a little green line right here, you follow it, it goes through. Then it hits your terminals here. Is your grounding electroconductor. Now you're into a transformer, so now you have to actually take your grounding electroconductor, right, and you bring it into the XO terminal, and your XO is also your neutral. As you see right here, this is your neutral. So right here at the winding, you come out your supply bonding jumper, or I'm sorry, the system bonding jumper. You bring it to the terminal, or if you're going to ground this to, you need a grounding electroconductor, you can also bond it and bring it to the structural steel. Okay. Now, here's the thing. When there's a ground fault, a lot of electricians, especially old school electricians years ago, believed that the electricity takes the path of least resistance. It's been proven wrong. It's been tested. It's not true. If you take an electrical theory, if you have a closed circuit from the power source through the switch to the load, and out the load side back to the power source, what is the electrons are trying to do? Electrons are trying to go back to the source. They're going around back to the source. So in this case, in this ground fault here, as you can see, it says the overcurrent device opens to remove dangerous voltage. Ground fault. So let's say one of the hot legs, pow, you got everything properly grounded. You have an effective ground fault current path. How it works: the electrons go through. There's a fault at the panel. Where do electrons go? They go through the metal framing, to the bonding jumper, to the electrical grounding conductor. Okay. Or I'm sorry, equipment grounding conductor will go through the equipment grounding conductor, through the bonding jumper, then off the supply side, then to the system bonding jumper here, and then back to the transformer, back to the source. What happens then? It'll sense there's a fault, okay, and the breaker will trip. What current is now trying to do is not trying to go to the earth, not going to ground. Okay. I try to explain this to some of the mechanics, like one or two mechanics. I show them this graph. And by the way, this is a graph from I took on Google that I saved off of Google, and this is actually a graph from one of Mike Holt's books. This is also on Google, so if you Google grounding and bonding, you can one of these photos. There's a lot of other photos, but this is one of the photos that's on Google as well. I like to save this and show it to the guys, but you're gonna come across some electricians out there and say, well, that's crap, I don't believe that. Why? I'm confused. Why is that? Well, obviously, if they've done this for years, they should know a little bit of theory. And if they explain it, some electricians say, oh no, the current goes back and forth, electricity goes back and forth because it's AC voltage. That's true. But you have a transformer. You have like an iron core. Let's say iron core in between here. Voltage does go in this direction, but at the same time, it is going back and forth. You have a sine wave, right? Sine waves, AC current. In a sine wave of DC current, you have straight lines, okay? Sine wave in the bottom of that center line, that's DC current. There's just direct current. AC current, you have a peak. The peak goes up, drops down. Current goes up, peaks, drops down. It's so rapid, you can't really see it. unless you put it in slow motion or something, then you probably see how the sine waves move up and down. There's always a slight fluctuation, but that's how AC current works. It moves back and forth, but it does go to the source. It just moves back and forth so rapidly you can't really see it with the naked eyes. No, it's impossible. Okay, that's why scientists came up with all this, equipment to see all that using magnifying glasses or whatever I forget, magnifying glasses, or I don't know how they're called, but you know what I'm saying. But yeah, see how the arrow shows up. Follow that arrow. You hit a fault. Electrons are going back to the source. They're going through, because everything now here is connected. All the metal parts are connected, and that's what we call is what we call that connected. It's called also bonding. We're bonding everything together when it comes to installing electrical equipment. We have to bond everything, okay, and make sure that if we have a ground fault, we have to be sure we have an effective ground fault current path where the electrons, in other words, you have to have a low impedance, okay. When you make in a structural building or in a constructed structure, you need to have a low impedance, and have from a low impedance path from the point of the ground here, from the point of the fault, back to the source. And that's how and then your breaker, and what happens? You remove voltage. Breaker trips, the voltage is removed safely. And what do? You fix whatever it is that's causing you go in, you troubleshoot, fix it, repair it, turn back on the breaker. The breaker will have to be reset, turn it back on, and then everything is back up and running again. But this is an example of an effective ground fault current path. Now, like I said earlier, I get a lot of arguments about this. And what do? I send guys either the graphics, or I said, hey, here's a link to Mike Holt's video. There's a 1 hour, I think it's an hour and a half video on YouTube, on Mike Holt's YouTube channel, about safety fundamentals of grounding versus bonding. So now you can see here, it says the fault current returns to the power supply when there is, a fault, a ground fault. The overcurrent device opens to remove dangerous voltage. The metal enclosure is energized until the fault clears. So you can see right here, boom, fault, energized equipment, boom, 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 boom. Right there, back to the source. Fault current returns to the power supply. Then the breaker trips. And that's it. All right. Now, if you're wondering, why do we even bother to ground? Put a grounding rod into the earth. It's mainly, from what I've been reading so far, it's mainly to remove over voltage, or if there's a lightning event and lightning hits a building and destroys all the equipment, the lightning bolt contains DC current, and it also gives off a pulse of energy, like DC current pulse of energy through the entire building, which is energy that expands and then collapses real quick and is trying to make its way back into the earth safely. That is basically how an event or a lightning event will happen. And when that happens, it doesn't mean everything in the building is safe because everything's grounded. No, it actually still destroys equipment. If you are looking into, lightning protection, if you are looking into for lightning protection, you want your building to have lightning protection, I believe it's NFPA 780. NFPA 780 is lightning protection systems. It's a different code book. It's totally way different than this code book here. There's nothing here about lightning protection. It's going to tell you to go to lightning protection NFPA 780. You got to get the NFPA 780 book for that. And electricians like myself, we don't really deal with installing lightning protection systems. That's a totally different, Like that's like special type of trade, special type of electricians that do that, or installers. Um, but I don't want to explain about lightning protection. There's a lot, I guess, to it, and I'm not a lightning protection specialist, so it is what it is. But if you want to read more about it, go on. You can Google it, and it'll tell you NFPA 780 lightning protection systems, and it'll take you to the book. And I guess I haven't really myself haven't checked it out yet, but it's interesting, and it sounds very interesting to like probably learn about. So back to the graphic. Okay, so if you guys still don't understand how grounding and bonding works, let me know right now. I can go slow if you want. Take my time. We got another about a half hour left. So, any questions on that, let me know. Let's see here. We're going to check out another graphic here as well. Here's another example now from one of Mike Holt's graphics that's on Google. If you Google search like images of grounding bonding, it shows up. All right, so here's another one. This is a code change, and this is based on the 2011 changes to the NEC code book on one of Mike Holt's grounding and bonding. And it says metal frame of building electrode, Article 250.52A22. So you got metal frames here. You got stud I-beams, steel beams and joists. You got your service coming in, and it looks like you got 480, 277 coming in to the meter, and then you also got your ground. So you got all this metal equipment. You got your transformer, you got your electrical panel. But as you can see in this transformer now, 480 volts, 277 is coming in through the meter, and it's feeding this transformer. This is a 480, 277, 208, 120. So now you're going from, now when we talked about it earlier, and I told you, imagine this is a 208 stepping up to 480. Now this is that was actually I think it was a 240 to 208. But in this graphic, you're gonna see there's a brown, orange, and yellow wire, which is 480 volts, 277. You have a step down transformer stepping down to 208, 120. Okay. So let's read on the bottom of the graphic here. It says the bolts securing the structural steel column are connected to a concrete encased electrode, Article 250.52A3, by welding, exothermic welding, the steel tie wires, or other approved means. Okay, so yeah, they do exothermal welding. You can weld a ground wire to the electrode, to a grounding electrode, or to a rebar. If you have structural rebar with tie wire, you can use that. If because it's in the earth, it'll be first covered in soil and then encased in concrete. So yeah, you're gonna have a resistance. You gotta make sure you have like 25 ohm resistance. Okay. What's next? So yeah, you got that. You can use if you are bonding, let's say a transformer, you need to bond the XO terminal. You need to bond it to the structural steel. Okay, and your system bonding jumper has to be also bonded to the XO, because you want to have an effective ground fault current path if there was to be a fault here in the panel. Okay, a ground fault. You want the electrons to go through the metal, boom, boom, boom. Okay, do the EMT or do the rigid pipe. Boom, from the supply, the system bonding jumper and back into the XO, back to the source. You want that to happen. You want the electricity to safely be removed. Okay, and when that happens, instantaneously it'll happen very quick. Like it doesn't like slow down. Like I can show you like, oh look, the electricity's going through the electrons. Boom, hits the XO, senses a fault, breaker trips, voltage is removed. Okay. Again, when this happens, voltage or electrons are not going to ground to the earth. Okay. Now, I can show you something. Oops. I can show you something that and I could explain it. I'll have to explain it better. But let's see if I can look for it for you guys. It's something that like if you wanted to ground a system directly to the earth, you could, but it's dangerous. Okay, we find, researchers and the research development found that grounding, directly to the earth and bringing voltage directly to the earth is dangerous because the earth, when you bring a ground rod into the earth, you get you're getting a high resistance. You have in the earth you have so many parallel paths. Okay, if you were to directly tie in, current to that rod, it's gonna go into those parallel paths in the soil, and what you cause is a voltage gradient. Okay, if you put I believe it's if you put a ground rod 1 foot into the earth and energize it, you get a foot of voltage, a 1 foot voltage gradient. If you're standing around it on the soil itself and touching metal, you will get killed. You will get shocked or killed. Okay, if you run it deeper, now you got into more soil. You get into more parallel paths. It expands, and then you go deeper. You go, let's say, 15 feet. The radius, the voltage gradient increases to 15 or more, and now you expand. Now you have even more and more parallel paths where electricity is just going through the ground rod into the earth and spreading out all through these parallel paths. Okay, that's why we never want to just simply bring a grounding conductor straight to the ground rod when there's a fault happening, because if you have a ground fault, and I'm going to show you here, let me just draw out this example. Okay, I'm sorry, let me let's go back to this graphic real quick. If you don't have in this transformer a supply system bonding jumper, okay, and you don't bond the XO directly to the steel structure, you'd say, okay, I'm gonna bring a ground wire from right here, your grounding electrode conductor, and bring it, bond it. Boom, you bond everything. Boom, here, but you don't bring a system bonding jumper to the XO or a grounding electrode conductor bonded to the steel structure. If you don't have those two, and then you bring, or I'm sorry, if you don't have a system bonding jumper and you have this right here bonded here, the grounding electrode conductor bonded from the point of the terminal, the XO terminal, to the structure, and you then on your system bonding jumper terminal, you have your supply side bonding jumper go into the bonding jumper, you bond it to the frame, then you have your equipment grounding conductor bonded to the bonding jumper, bonded to the ground terminal, and then you have a bonding jumper bonding it to the panel of the frame. What happens when you have a fault? You have a fault, electrons are going through all the metal. They're going through all the metal, right? They're going through everywhere until it ends up to the grounding electroconductor. It will go into the ground electroconductor, into the earth, and if somebody was standing right here, leaning on the steel or touching anything that was metallic in the building, you got electrons going all over the place, okay? Someone's gonna get shocked or electrocuted and get killed, because now you have all these parallel paths, including the earth, okay? That's dangerous, okay? Now, if you don't have, I'm sorry, let me take that back. Let's say you don't have this bonded. I'm gonna go back a second. Let's not say that the grounding electrical conductor, right? It's not bonded to the XO and not bonded to from the XO to the metal steel structure. I'm gonna take that back. I'm gonna take a step back because I kind of rushed that there. Electrons are not going through all the building. What's gonna happen is it's gonna go through here. It's gonna go through the metal, all around the metal framing. It's gonna follow the ground, and what it's gonna think? It's gonna think it's going back to this. No, it's gonna go straight to the grounding electroconductor here at the disconnect, or if you have it bonded to the neutral onto the meter, what happens? You have now objectionable current. Objectionable current is when you now have all the electrons going all throughout the building. Actually, I was right. It's going all throughout the building, and then it's also going to ground. Okay. If you do not have a grounding electroconductor going to the ground, it will go throughout all the metal around the building, all the building structure. It's gonna touch all the metal because it's trying to find its way back to the source. Okay. If let's say now you don't have a grounding conductor, right, bonded to the neutral, and instead you have a bonding jumper, so you have your equipment grounding conductor, right, only tied in and bonded to the metal frame, okay, and you have a bonding jumper, okay, and then you have your equipment grounding conductor also bonded to the metal of the panel, okay, and not bonded to the neutral. What's going to happen? You're going to have voltage go straight to the earth. And like I said before, if someone's standing here and they touch metal, what happens? Boom, that's it. They're done. They're dead. Because now you got all this metal bonded. You can even have this equipment, this grounding electroconductor even bonded to the steel from the transformer, and you'll still get, you get parallel paths. You get all these paths, and it's going to the earth, and then you kill somebody. You create a voltage gradient. Someone's leaning on steel. Boom, they're done. That's it. So, I mean, I don't know how else to explain it, really. I mean, this is my, I'm just saying from what I learned so far. Now, if I'm wrong about a few things, if there's something you don't understand, like you said, let me know, guys. If you know a little bit more about grounding and bonding, and maybe you do a little bit more than I do, listen, feel free to just say it. We're all here to learn. You know what I'm saying? We're here to learn, take advice, ask questions, get answers. All right? So, but like I said, you want to have, and if you're an electrician, you're how you say, you're an apprentice, right? You're an apprentice, or maybe you're a mechanic. Let's just say you're a mechanic. All right? You're a mechanic, and you disagree. Because now you worked under a bunch of other electricians who've been doing this for years, and they're telling you electrons are taking the least path, the path of least resistance. No. Okay. Yes, low impedance. You need to have a low impedance to have an effective ground fault per path, which is a fault, which is to have a low impedance, structured low impedance from the point of the fault back to the source. Okay. That's what that means. So if you want to look at the meanings of grounding and bonding, go to Article 100, definitions. Okay. An effective ground fault current path. There's a definition in Article 100 about it. You're going to read it. Understand it. If you don't understand it, check out Mike Holt. Okay? At MikeHolt.com. All right? I can show you right now, actually. So this is one of the other photos. We went to that. Here you go. Mike Holt Enterprises. Go on it. Dude, look, like he has so much information. He's got free videos. He's got a daily graphic of the day. Okay, this graphic is based on the 2020 NEC. PV systems, equipment secure grounded metal parts. 690.43. Metallic support structures used as equipment grounding conductors must have identified bonding jumpers between separate metallic. See, this is all about PV systems, photovoltaic systems. Okay, there you have to ground. You definitely have to ground everything, like all metal parts. So you got these bonding jumpers right here. These are approved bonding jumpers on the metallic support structures. You have to bond everything. Okay. Then you have a little question. This question is based on 2020 NEC, not related to the graphic above. Article 100 contains definitions essential to the application of the code. Definitions are also found in, and my answer is XXX.2 of other articles. Let's see if that's right. I hope it's right. Look, yep, it's right. And it's code reference 100 scope. There you go. He throws in these little quizzes so you guys could like really train yourselves. If like I answer this because I've watched his videos. He's showing you to understand the NEC code or the National Electrical Code. Okay. Yeah, his products are expensive, but if you're smart enough, and you are, If you go to his like live stream seminars or go to his like I've been to one of his seminars, his 2017 grounding and bonding seminars here in New York in Long Island City. He gives you a free book about grounding and bonding, which is based on a 2017 code. Then during his seminar about grounding and bonding, he gives you a promotion code, a discount code, and say, hey, here's the discount. Go to my website. If you want to use, you can buy any of my products with this discount. You're good. Me, I just recently, and I hope he's I hope he's watching this. Actually, that'd be pretty cool if he's watching my channel. I just recently bought 2 of his DVDs, electrical theory DVDs. There's actually a total of 3 because this one I used the promo code at his seminar in Long Island City, and I bought the book, a separate book that's attached to the electrical theory book. And it came with this DVD. So now I actually have all 3 DVDs. I have the basic electrical theory book, because he actually does refer that anybody who was going to get into his program, go buy this book first. This is an amazing book. It's got graphics. He explains everything in detail. He's got little pictorials and stuff like that. He explains it. It's just so easy. It's very easy. It's not like these, textbooks I went through in school or in trade school where you're sitting there. There's not really any pictures. You don't really understand, like, okay, what does the electrons look like? How does it work? And, he has everything he has all these graphics in these books, and they're so detailed. It helps you understand the code. It even helps you understand theory. It helps you understand then it helps you more understand about grounding, bonding, and then understanding the National Electrical Code. So, go to his book. Go to his website. He's got it. Look, you go to products, and I mean they are pricey, but like I said, if you're smart enough, you go to his live, seminars online and stuff. Sometimes he gives away, like, he'll go through a code seminar and online, and he'll give away a code if you are invited, like if you register to his website. So you got grounding and bonding. So you got 2020, 2017, and 2014. I got the 2014 because I have 2014 code book. And the book itself with the DVDs. I'm sorry, this is the changes to the 2014 code book, which I have as well. It goes for $210. I got this book at a discount price on one of his live streams. I think I got 15% off. So I got it for like $80. Somewhere around $80 to $90 for the the textbook and the 2 DVDs. The grounding and bonding, here it is, or bonding and grounding, really. He's got from 2020 all the way to 2011, depending, which state you live in or reside in. I have 2014, comes with 2 DVDs, same price, $210. This book right here, I'm telling you, once you go through electrical theory, this right here, man, I tell you, this has got to be the best, to me, in my opinion, the best DVD textbook setup of explaining grounding and bonding. Look, you got a little preview here. If you're not too sure, look, see, grounding, safety fundamentals. It's an hour and 13 minutes long. It's basically a whole segment of fundamentals of grounding and bonding, and this is free on YouTube as well. You can just watch it over and over.
This study was done in 1960, I think it was, and
so he explains it. You start the video, right?
Electrical fundamentals. The electrical circuit is the first thing we want to establish. Electrical circuit operates this. Let's say it's a battery. Now, we're not going to get involved with the electrons travel from negative to positive, negative. We're not going to get into that. Let's just say they travel off the negative polarity of a battery, and they go through an overcurrent protection device showing a fuse. Then there's a switch, and then it's going to go to the light bulb, and then the current travels back on this neutral conductor going back over to this battery. This is an electrical circuit. And if you could, I'd like you guys to take a pencil and a paper. I'd like you at home, I'd like you to write some fundamental things out. And would some of you guys on the team write this down, get something and write it down?
You got
and I'm
other
curious if we can come up with something at the end. A lot of times I think we're going to do this and I forget to do it. See if we can make some fundamentals. Number 1 fundamental we want to remember is this. Current leaves the source and returns to the source.
I mean,
Those are facts.
that's dope.
Okay? Current leaves the source,
And
returns to source. Take a look at this graphics. That's number one thing. Write it down. The current leaves the power supply,
let me see if he has
goes to the
an
load,
explanation
and
about.
returns back to the. That's called an electrical circuit. That's the.
Okay, let's go.
Then when you have a fault current with a low impedance path is going to cause a high fault current. Now, the way circuit breakers operate so that the higher the current, the quicker it takes for that device to open. Have a 120-volt circuit here, and then it's 240 line to line. There's a fault between one phase to the ground. This is a 120-volt ground fault. Current's traveling on this conductive path right here. This is called an equipment grounding conductor, green wire, EMT, whatever. And then this is going to be called a system bonding jumper. A supply side bonding jumper, which we'll talk about later on. And then you're going to have a system bonding jumper. These are all titles that, you know what, we don't really care what they're called. What really matters is there's a fault that hits the enclosure. That fault has to have a conductive path. It's called an effective ground fault current path from the point of a fault back to the source. And the purpose of this effective ground fault current path is to turn it off.
And that's it, guys. That's it. That's the purpose. There you go. So, I mean, this guy is really knowledgeable. He's super smart, dude. Totally worth watching his. I mean, if you can't afford his books, go on his YouTube channel. He's got a lot of videos. Go through them all. Some of them are different code years. This one's based on the 2014 code. But this is like the most popular video on his YouTube channel. Like, if you don't know grounding and bonding, if you are a mechanic and you still are confused about it, or you believe what you've been told about grounding and that electrons are finding the least path of least resistance and goes to ground, no, it's not true. Watch this video. Spread it, man. Spread the information. I take this video, I go on Microsoft Teams, because my job, we all go on Microsoft Teams to communicate. I just made a separate chat section for things like this. I want to try to help the guys I work with understand about grounding and bonding. You know, it's like he didn't really make this up. Like, an effective ground fault current path wasn't just made up out of the blue. It wasn't. It was just tested and proven, based on statistics of people getting killed because of, improper grounding or improper bonding, and it was researched, and that was basically it. It was shown to prove that, if you bring electrons back to the earth, you create a voltage gradient, and if someone's nearby to a metallic object, they can get killed. Now if you're wearing like rubber sole foot shoes and stuff, yeah, but if you take them off and you touch metal, you're done. So that's my point of the, grounding versus bonding. Now look, guys, I'm about to finish this, but I could take a few more minutes extra. You guys want to ask questions or or anything like that, let me know. Kono, thanks, man. I appreciate you still being here, dude. What do you guys think so far? What do you guys think about grounding and bonding? Is it something that you're still confused about? Is it something that it piques your interest? And let me know what you think. What's on your mind? And if you're confused about it, I can send the link, or actually, there's a link in the description box of his website, MikeHolt.com, and hold on. So this is basically his website that I'm in, and you don't have to necessarily go to products. So when you type in his name, MikeHolt.com, you just scroll down and go to free videos. You click on free videos. Dude, he has a bunch of videos. Look at all these videos. Created in 2017, 2019. He recently just did a video this year. I think it's in 2021. He did one last week or a couple days ago. He just posted it a couple days ago, actually. I'm trying to find it. This is all 2014. But if you're looking for the safety fundamentals of grounding versus bonding, it's here. It's like one of the longest videos he has. Let me see. Grounding versus bonding. Looks for G. Here it is. There's a lot. See, there's a lot of videos about grounding and bonding. Okay. So this one right here. Right here. Oh gosh, I don't know why it does that. This is it. The video is right here. Grounding safety fundamentals, an hour and 13 minutes. Watch this video. Watch it. You can click on it, and it just takes you right to the video. It's on YouTube. Grounding versus ungrounded systems. He has a video on that. Click on it. It's good stuff. So if you're interested in electrical, you want to be an electrician, stop by his website. Take a look. If you still aren't sure, you can even email his office too, and ask. It doesn't hurt to ask questions to things you don't know. He does do live, like I said, live stream videos. Just recently, he just this one, understanding system voltage and system bonding jumps with different types of systems. This one right here is recent. He just posted this a couple of days ago. And it's a real good video, by the way. Whoa. Okay.
Hey, Mike Holt here with MikeHolt.com. I thought I was done with voltage systems, got done last recording, and then I got all kinds of questions. I was all ready to do things, and then I had to change my plan today. So, you ready to go? First thing, take a moment to thank God for blessing me. And we all have lots and lots of blessings, no matter how difficult it is. We just got. This is not a bonding and grounding seminar. We were just talking about systems, but people started extracting some questions. So let's get into the system bonding jumper. Comment, hey Mike, I love watching you guys, but I'm confused about the installation of the system bonding jumper. If I install the system bonding...
I'm sorry, but I don't want to really play the whole video, but you guys get the idea. I hope you guys understand that. Go to his website. He's got so many videos. It's just awesome. Like I came across his YouTube channel because I was trying to study for a master electrician exam about 4 years ago, and I came across one of his videos, and that was the first video, grounding versus bonding, safety fundamentals. So, and I was hooked, and it was really educational stuff, and the stuff you need to know. Like I said, the more you learn, the more you earn. Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, you're just listening in, right, Kona? You're just listening in, dude. It's okay. Don't worry. I won't get mad. But I'll take some questions. Anybody got any questions right now? I know not everybody's here. There's like 2 people here still watching. What else do I have to talk about? Gosh, it's like every time I come online and I want to I have so much going on in here that I want to bring up, and when I start, I totally forget. Like as I'm going, for instance, expectations of helpers and apprentices, and then we just talked about grounding and versus bonding, and I know I had some other stuff I wanted to talk about, but I just can't seem to remember it because I guess I kind of dragged on. Don't you hate that? You're like, oh, I got so much stuff I want to talk about, but then when you talk about the first 2 subjects, the third and fourth, the fifth, sixth, is like, okay, what was I going to talk about next? Oh crud, I don't remember what I was going to talk about now. So that happens. We're all human beings, Let's see here. Oh, is there anybody who's watching this? If you know anything about the product line called Maymax Systems, or sub-metering appliance devices, if you guys know how to install or program it, please email me. My email is in the description box down below at jonathalelectric1@gmail.com. Let me know what you know about those systems, about watt-hour node or watt node out, watt-hour devices, basically like energy dashboard system units, because I've been doing that over at this university, and I'm trying to get more information on it. I learned how to program a sub-metering device, but I like to hear those of you out there who know how to who are really in depth of installing these. And all you do is install these units. Like all you do is install watt hour node systems and and program and install and program IP metering devices. We call them Mavericks. That's what they're called, Mavericks, by Maymax Systems. If you know anything about Maymax Systems, please email me. Send me information. Maybe send me a video link about, different ways to program them. Or if you know somebody who knows it, let me know. Send them, let them know I'm trying to get more into it, and send me a link on a video. Do a video about how you program. I did a video, but I can't really post it. It's basically it's an archive record for for my job. I work for electrical contractor, and this is something new to me that I'm learning as I'm installing these units and as I'm going. I worked along with Maymax Systems technical support guy that they have. His name's I know some of you probably may or may not know him. His name is Asim. He knows the ins and outs of it. I spoke to him on the phone along with the environmental engineer on site, and we basically got a breakdown of how we had to program it, and what's the settings, and all of that. I did go on their website and I got a little more information. I downloaded the specifications and manuals, instruction manuals, but there's so much more. I'm right now I'm just doing the basic setup, and as far as I know, it's going pretty well. But I want to know if those of you who have much more in-depth experience with Maymax systems, with the Maverick sub-metering devices and the watt node hour systems, let me know. Do a video. I'd like to see a video how you set it up, like your own way of setting things up. Like, do you have to set up emails, or you got to program it to send emails, reports to computers and into the system or something like that? Anything like that at all? You have any information about it, please let me know. Share with me, share with everyone. That way, I mean, it's good to learn this stuff, because I'm actually getting into it, but I don't know a full hardcore extent to the to it all. There's obviously there's more to it. And it's just for electrical that I'm doing for the electrical services. There are one or two that I think they're used for gas metering. So if you know how to program it for, reading gas meters and stuff, or metering gas, I think it's called standard cubic feet. Let me know. Let me know how you program that, how you set it up, and it'll really help. So. Let's see. Comments. Anybody got a comment? Anybody? What happened? I lost the chat. I think I lost the chat. Let me see here. Oh no, it's right here. Hey. No, that's it. Looks like what we got? Discord. Nope. Nothing new on Discord. Maybe a few videos being posted, but other than that, we're good. I think there was something else I also wanted to mention. But let me see if I could find. That's not it. Let me see if I can find it here. Oh yes, another thing I also wanted to discuss. I remembered now. And it deals with the National Electrical Code. So, and it pertains to Article 230.66a. Oh wait, my bad. That was wrong. Wrong display. Let's do it again. There we go. Okay, now markings for service equipment, Article 230.66a. Okay, service disconnect must be marked. Right here. Service disconnect must be marked to identify it as being suitable as service equipment and be listed or field evaluated. Okay. The meter, not service equipment. Okay. A lot of confusion on that as well. I hear a lot of that. And I'm going to have to say I totally agree with this article. Um, a meter, okay, is not considered service equipment. Okay, you can't just go in there and disconnect the meter. Meters are mostly locked, and they're for reasons, for the utility. The meter is part of the utility company that is metering your consumption of power. Okay, it's the only way they can bill you. The disconnect, as you can see here in the graphic, it says Generac. Okay, service rated ATS, automatic transfer switch. This is for an emergency power. Okay, that is what's known as a service. You can disconnect, reconnect. You have right here your regular service disconnect, which is also attached to the meter that feeds the disconnect. Either it's fused or non-fused. It is known as a service. These two are considered a service. Okay. Not this, not service equipment. And I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually send this image out to the chat. I'm gonna call it like the education chat in Microsoft Teams for all the guys I work with, because there's a lot of that. Like I hear a lot of them say, "Well, this is service. This is a service." No, the meter is not the service. This is your service equipment right here. This is what disconnects. This is what energizes and de-energizes your system. Okay, this stays constantly on unless there's a power outage and it shuts off. But it is still not a service. Okay, it's not considered service. Now, there are meters that are attached, okay, into one equipment or one enclosure where you have a meter and then you have a disconnect. Okay. I believe, because I don't think they discussed this in one of my Colts videos or any type of video or online equipment. Well, actually, let me look for something close to that. I'm gonna see if we could find. Let me see here. Okay, let's see if we could find something. Meter disconnect combo service. I think that's probably what they're called, really. Combo. Let's see if we can find some photos. Oh, here you go. Look at that. Okay. So, this is what they call compact meter main service entrance, 100 amps rated. Okay. This right here, okay, I would think, I mean, it's a compact meter main service. This will be considered, an entire thing will be considered a service. From what I look at it, the way I look at it, you have a meter here on the top, you had your disconnect in the bottom. This would have to maybe be considered a service, or they would still consider not the meter, not the service, even though it's in the same enclosure, but the disconnect as a service. But to me, what I see is, as of right now, as far as I'm concerned, I would have to see this as a service. Okay. I would have to see it as a service because it's in the same enclosure. I would think so, but let's see. Maybe I'm wrong. Compact meter main service entrance. There's the word. Meter main service entrance. I guess that's what it is. It says main breaker not included. Field installable. Okay, yeah, some of them don't have they don't have the breaker. You have to basically buy you have to buy it. So, yeah. And it just looks like that. So I'm guessing it's considered a service. But if I'm wrong, let me know. Yeah, it's a different ones too. They got some for residential, some for commercial, So you got one here for, I believe this is commercial type. Oh, it's for RV reception. Okay, this is for an RV. Yeah, plug in your RV. You got a G. Oh, that's cool. You got a GFI. You got a couple breakers. That's pretty dope. See that? And then you got your meter here. And in some states like Florida, they have these. Depending on the what you're servicing, whether it's commercial or residential. If it's residential, you might have this. If you are like, I think this is residential, I believe. Yes, it's residential. This is for residential homes. You got your GFCI. You got a plug outlet to charge the battery in your RVs. So if you have an RV at home, you park in the driveway, you plug it in. There you go. Let's see. Then you have commercial type from GE. Look at this guy. Oh no, this is still. Is it still? Hold on. Meter. Oh, it's for recreational vehicle park power. So this would still be considered commercial. I would have to, or residential, depending on, I guess it's depending on the application. All right. So, and that's it. But as far as I'm concerned, that's not it. Where is it? This is right here. If it's not a combination, not service equipment, the meter. Always remember that. It's not a service. This is your service equipment right here. Either it's your regular main disconnect or your generator. Okay. So, because once power goes out, this baby right here switches automatically. So you'll have to go to your generator, start up your generator. Power goes through here. Power will go to this ATS into your regular disconnect, through your disconnect, throughout your house. It feeds power throughout your house. And there's your emergency power. Another thing, here in New York City, please, guys in New York City. Oh, I don't know how many times I've seen this. Some in new construction, and then like Manhattan. I'm going to say this right now. Manhattan, the island of Manhattan, is susceptible of floods in certain parts. In my belief, it can be throughout the entire island of Manhattan. If you're bringing in emergency power, a generator, in a commercial establishment, and it's a high rise, I've seen where it's either a high rise or like a 6, 7, 8-story building. They tend to put the generator in the basement. It's a bad idea. Okay. It's the worst idea. Okay. Basements flood. And when you flood the basement where a generator is present, that's it. No more. There's no emergency power. So if the power goes out during a storm, there's flooding. You want to have power and lighting. Best thing to do now is that in most buildings in New York City, now they put the generator on the roof to avoid the flooding. Smartest thing. And it's how you're supposed to do it. But now they still tend to put it in the basement. I don't know why. They believe, oh, well, everything concrete here, it's flood proof. No, it doesn't matter if it's flood proof. You still don't want the possibility of a flood. Is the door to the entrance of that room flood proof? No. You can have on the first floor flooding, water pouring in throughout the stairs, floods up the basement, goes through that door into the ATS room, also where the generator is, flood up that room and destroy the equipment. It's over. It's done. You're not going to have emergency power. Okay. You contractors, please. I don't know if it's allowable I don't know if it's still allowable in certain buildings. I believe, in my belief, okay, and I know most of you won't care what I believe, but I believe to be safe on it, put the generator on the roof. Okay, your ATS switches, obviously they're gonna be in the basement. Is it a good idea? Still, I mean, does it make sense to put an ATS switch in the basement when the generator's not down there? Honestly, no. It doesn't make sense still. No matter how high you put you mount that ATS box and you have massive amount of flooding. Some basements flood up to the ceiling, and that's it. Your everything's covered in water. Everything's submerged. I would like that. Maybe, I don't know if it's, you know, I don't see ATS switches in roofs except for the generator. I mean, if you're gonna do that, you might as well put an ATS switch up in the roof along with the generator, or at least in a room in the roof dedicated for our ATS room. Okay, you bring your risers up, power through, come back down, branch off to the, bring power, bring all your conductors to the generator, so into the ATS, and then regular power to the ATS, and then back down. In case of a flood, it's just common sense. In case of a flood, it floods, it'll automatically switch to emergency power. You don't have to worry about the ATS getting submerged in the basement. It's fine. It's done. That's it. Like, it's fine. It's good. What you could do is you run up the conductors, and I know you're probably gonna think, well, what about if the water goes up the pipe and pressure and air? Okay, here's a simple way. You run your conductors into the ATS switch, through the riser to the ATS switch to the roof. Once you're done terminating, seal it up. Seal it up. Con Edison utility company does that. They don't want water pouring into the CT or the end line box. They seal it up. Once they bring their conductors, they seal it up, prevent water or bugs or whatever. Do the same when you're bringing a riser up for a generator on the roof, and you're putting you make a dedicated space for the ATS, an indoor dedicated space. Bring it up, seal it up after you run your conductors, and that's it. So the water doesn't try to go through. Or seal it downstairs too. Seal it down below in the electrical room. Your conductors are going up that riser, dedicated for emergency power, an ATS switch. Seal it up. If you don't want water rising up into the conduit. I mean, it's just common sense. It really is, and I don't understand why inspectors in New York City don't want an ATS switch in the roof. Not once have I seen one on the roof, and I've seen generators now on the roof. But wouldn't it make sense if you put one on the roof specifically build out a space for an automatic transfer switch room? Like, why leave it with all the electrical equipment down in the basement where it's going to get soaked, submerged, and fried? You're energizing, all right? Your automatic switch turns up to emergency power. Emergency power goes back to that switch and then back up, and it's submerged. It's still going to short out. Sometimes some of these things are not. I don't feel like some of these things are like wet or waterproof or anything. Like, if you're gonna keep it in the basement, make it waterproof. Make the equipment waterproof. Like, really seal it up, waterproof it. I feel like that equipment is not really 100% sealed up, like waterproof. So if that's the case, why not just bring the ATS switches? Bring a riser up to the ATS switch, energize it. Bring your regular power back down. It makes sense. Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of money being spent. But why be stupid to do that? I mean, I don't know. Everybody has their different opinions on it, and that's just my opinion. It's just my opinion on that subject matter. So, but anyway, so this right here, like I said. Remember, meter is not a service equipment unless it's a combination main service. Then I'll have to be considered a service. But if it's not, and it's not part of the disconnect, it will have to, if it's not like inside the same enclosure of a disconnect as a combination. I like to call it combos. This will be listed not a service equipment, and these two will be. They'll be marked and listed. They'll be marked, not listed, but marked. That's what I meant to say. Okay, so Conan Man says, I gotta let you go, John. You take care. You too, Conan Man. I appreciate you coming by, dude. Really do. Really appreciate it. But yeah, I should get going too. I had kind of fun explaining this and bringing out certain opinions on certain things and certain subjects, and I really appreciate you guys. So
Have you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn.